Historical sources often spell his name Bumpy. This account follows the title and uses Buppy Johnson. Marcus "Smooth" Henderson had spent 11 years convincing himself the past was dead. 11 years since he made that one phone call. 11 years since he sat in a sealed room and put Buppy Johnson behind bars for 20. 11 years since he walked out with a new name, a new smile, and all of Buppy's old territory. He told himself Harlem forgets fast. Money talks louder than loyalty. Time buries everything. He was wrong. June 10th, 1963. Small's Paradise. Friday night. The club was alive the way only Harlem clubs could be. Thick cigarette smoke curled around the low amber lights. The band was deep in a slow, dirty blues, piano rolling like thunder, trumpet crying like a woman who knows her man is leaving. Laughter spilled from every corner. Glasses clinked. Perfume mixed with barbecue sauce and sweat. Table 7 was Smooth's table now. It had been his lucky spot for the last 5 years. Tonight he sat there with 2 Genovese lieutenants, crisp white shirts, pinky rings flashing, counting stacks of cash from the new policy games. Money that used to go upstairs to Buppy's people, money that now stayed in Smooth's pockets. He was laughing at something one of the Italians said. A real laugh, the kind that comes easy when you believe you've won. He didn't see the door open. Buppy Johnson walked in like the years hadn't touched him. Same wide shoulders, same slow, deliberate stride that made men step aside without thinking. Hair touched with gray now, face harder, eyes colder. Prison will do that. But it was him, no doubt. He didn't go to the bar, didn't wave to old friends, didn't smile. He just walked straight to table 8, the table right next to Smooth, and sat down alone. The air in the room changed. It's hard to explain if you've never felt it. One moment the club is loud and loose. The next, it's quiet in a way that makes your ears ring. Conversation dropped table by table. The trumpet player hit a wrong note and didn't bother to correct it. Waiters slowed their steps like they were walking through water. Smooth felt it before he saw it. He turned his head. Their eyes met. 11 years collapsed into 1 second. Smooth's smile died on his face. His mouth went dry. His hands that had shaken 100 deals, signed 100 payoffs, suddenly felt too heavy. Buppy didn't speak, didn't nod, didn't threaten. He just looked at him. Then he raised one finger, slow, calm, and signaled the waiter. The waiter was an old man named Clarence, who had worked small since before the war. His hands shook as he approached Buppy's table. Buppy said something too low for anyone else to hear. Clarence nodded once and walked away. Smooth tried to laugh it off. Told the Genovese boys some joke about old ghosts. They didn't laugh. Clarence returned. He carried a small silver tray. On it lay one thing, a straight razor, blade open, steel shining like it had just been sharpened. No note, no words. Clarence walked straight to table 7, placed the tray dead center in front of Smooth, right on top of the money stacks. Then he turned and disappeared into the kitchen. The razor just sat there, catching every bit of light in the room, throwing it back like a warning. Everyone knew what it meant. In Harlem, when a razor shows up on your table like that, clean, open, delivered quiet, it's not a threat. It's a message. It says, you've been marked, you've been weighed, and you've been found wanting. Smooth stared at it like it might vanish if he didn't blink. It didn't. The Genovese lieutenant suddenly remembered urgent business elsewhere. One muttered something about a phone call. The other checked his watch twice in 10 seconds. They stood up, left their drinks half finished, walked out without looking back. Smooth was alone at table 7 now, just him and the razor. He looked at Buppy again. Buppy hadn't moved, hadn't spoken. He just watched. Smooth's mind raced back 11 years. He remembered the night he made the call, hiding in a phone booth on 145th, voice shaking, telling the detective everything. Dates, drops, names. He remembered the deal, testimony for immunity. He remembered watching Buppy get sentenced, standing in the back of the courtroom in a cheap suit, heart pounding with relief. He remembered the first night in his new apartment, drinking champagne, telling himself it was over. He remembered every year after that, building his little empire on the bones of Buppy's old one, telling himself the streets had moved on, that loyalty was a fairy tale, that he was smarter than all of them. Now he sat looking at a razor and knew he'd been wrong about everything. His hand moved toward his cheek without thinking, like he could already feel the cut. Buppy finally spoke. One sentence, low, calm, carried across the two tables like it was meant only for Smooth. "You got 24 hours." That was all. No shouting, no gun pulled, no dramatic speech, just 24 hours. Smooth stood up. His legs barely held him. He left a thick stack of bills on the table. Way more than the tab. He didn't wait for change. He walked out of Small's paradise with every eye in the place on his back. No one stopped him. No one said goodbye. By morning, Marcus "Smooth" Henderson was gone. Some say he caught a train south. Some say he drove north until the road ran out. Some say he paid a fisherman to take him across the water and never looked back. Nobody asked too hard. Table 7 stayed empty for months. People would walk past it, glance at it, and choose another seat. Because everybody in Harlem knew the story by then. They knew about the man who thought 11 years was long enough, who thought betrayal could be buried under new suits and new money. They knew about the night a razor showed up on Table 7. Quiet, clean, final. And they knew what happened when you sold out Buppy Johnson. You don't get killed, not right away. You get reminded, you get marked, you get 24 hours to disappear for real. And if you're smart, you run. If you're not, well, nobody ever saw Smooth Henderson in Harlem again. But sometimes, late at night, old-timers at Smalls would swear they saw a gleam of steel on Table 7 when the lights were low. Just sitting there, waiting. Because in Harlem some debts don't die. They just wait, patient, like Buppy Johnson, like a razor on a table, like 11 years coming due all at once. And that's the real story of the night the razor showed up on Table 7. Not a shootout, not a war. Just one quiet message delivered in steel and silence. The kind of message that echoes louder than any gunshot. The kind that makes a whole neighborhood remember who really runs things. Because respect isn't given, it's taken back. One razor at a time.